A controversial article has people in the industry baffled for some strange reason. We're going to talk about it right now. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. So, we're not going to sit here and bash the Oscars for 20 minutes. That's not what this video is all about. You're probably sitting back wondering, what does this video mean? Well, this is a problem that we're going to talk about today. First off, I just want to start with this. I'm not claiming to know everything. I don't know everything. What I know is what I read, what multiple people read, and what everyone is fired up, at least on Twitter, which people are always fired up on Twitter, but everyone is outspoken about what this article had to say. And this is not me bashing those who wrote it. And like I said, this is not me bashing the Oscars. Now, this is an issue, multiple issues that have existed for quite some time within the voting department of the Academy Awards. Things that have turned into something maybe even greater than what it used to be. But it's not like these are new issues, right? We've always had the same problem. People are just becoming more outspoken about it. And now the Academy, they're trying to change things. They're trying to bring in new voters, younger, more diverse, this and that. And that's great, but there are issues that are always going to happen unless something is to be done. Is this me trying to resolve this issue and giving my comments on how to solve it? No. But we are going to read this article, and we are going to just kind of talk about what it means. And this isn't a variety article. I mean, it feels like they're writing crazy stuff nowadays. Why 1917 is the last film that should be winning the Oscar? I feel like they do this every year. Whenever there is somewhat of a front runner, they're just like, why is insert movie here the last film that should win an Oscar? I am Variety. No, today's article comes from the New York Post, and I actually did a bit of research to see if this is something that has happened before, and there are multiple cases, multiple people, anonymous people, that have come out and said, you know, I've either voted for things without seeing them, or I've just not voted for actors who maybe deserve to win for that award, but because I just don't think they're worthy, right? I just don't think they're Academy or Oscar material. Now, the Oscars, they've always had this problem. It's always been a political thing, one, but two, let's see who can campaign the hardest to get an Oscar nomination. Let's see what movie, maybe isn't as relevant now, but we're going to make it more relevant because we're going to put all of the money into it. Some studios who can't afford to do that. You take a film like American Animals that came out last year. You take a movie like The Florida Project, which A24 could have pushed a tad bit harder, but they had to invest their money elsewhere because you have to have all of the money in the world to push these movies for the Oscars. And these big budget studios, they can do that, right? They have more of an opportunity to get movies nominated that maybe shouldn't be in those specific nominations. That's fine. I think we've all accepted that at this point. We don't need an Oscar or our favorite movies to win an Oscar for us to consider them our favorite movies. Now, is it fun once the nominations come out? Do we look at all the movies and say, yeah, I want that one to win. I want that one to win. Some people are like, I hate that movie, and I'm going to tell everybody. That's fine. Sure, do that. But it's fun. It's competition. I'm a sports guy. I love football and basketball. I love rooting for specific teams and specific players. That's why the Oscars is so entertaining for me. And this takes nothing away from the fact that the Oscars are way more credible than some of these other award ceremonies. You look at the Golden Globes, and not to hate on the Golden Globes, a really long ceremony, but you only have 70 to 80 people voting, and some of those, it's the same case as it is for the Oscars. They're voting without knowing, having all of the information that Oscar voters have. So I would say the Golden Globes are even less credible than the Oscars, but that doesn't take away from the fact that what we have read, what I have read over the last couple of days, didn't baffle me, didn't surprise me. I think we all knew it, but just the fact that people are saying it really flusters us, gets under our skin, and frustrates us. But I want to start an article from 2014, and the title is, 2 Oscar voters picked 12 Years a Slave without watching it. And like I said, this isn't shocking. But this post says, the revelation comes via the Los Angeles Times. 2 Oscar voters privately admitted that they didn't see 12 Years a Slave, thinking it would be upsetting, but they said they still voted for it because the film is socially relevant and they felt obligated to do so. Now, these are 2 individuals, anonymous, of course, that had that idea about 12 Years a Slave. The film that, at the beginning of that ceremony, Ellen DeGeneres made a joke about how the evening might go. She said, possibility number 1, 12 Years a Slave wins Best Picture. Possibility number 2, you're all racists. And everyone laughed. But then this comes out And two anonymous people are confident enough, gutsy enough to say this to someone, hoping that they'll keep them anonymous. Well, if two people said it, that doesn't mean just two people did it. And this isn't a knock on 12 Years a Slave. You guys saw my countdown video. I like that movie quite a bit. It wasn't my favorite from that year. No. Was I super upset that it won Best Picture? No. But that's just one example of what feels like every year we have movies that are obviously going to be socially and politically relevant. And maybe some of those films aren't going to age as well as some of these other movies. We've seen it year after year after year. Whatever movie, not necessarily wins Best Picture, but the films that are nominated, some of them age really well. And the other ones, and most of the time the winner, they're relevant that year. Well, they're relevant a 2 to 3 year span. But after that... Huh? Now, I'm not talking 12 Years a Slave. That's a film that will obviously stay relevant for a long, long time. But just an example of how people vote because it feels like an obligation to vote for that specific movie because it spreads that kind of message. A good message to be spread, don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. If you are going to vote, let me tell you, and I'm doing an award show on my channel soon, and I'm going to say this right now, you better have seen every movie in that category before you vote. Now, how am I going to know? I'm not going to know. And how am I going to prevent that from happening? I don't have the answer. And I think that's what the Academy is suffering from right now. They don't know how to prevent this because the voters are not taking the time to watch everyone in the specific category. And some of them, as we've seen from this article in 2014, that's 6 years ago, we'll get into today's time here in just a second, but some of them are voting without seeing the film, but voting for the movie that they think should win. How does that make sense? You cannot argue me. You cannot make a valid argument saying that's okay, because that's not okay. And if you say, well, Austin, it was only two. Was it only two? Or was it only two that said that that's what they did, right? And the other ones just stayed quiet. Okay, now we get into this New York Post article, and once again, not a knock on this article. It's a well-written article, and they did a wonderful job displaying the points that I'm going to talk about. So the title of this is Academy Members Viciously Reveal Why Lopez, Sandler, and Murphy got snubbed from the Oscars. Shall we continue? We talk about how acting legend Terry Moore tells Jennifer Lopez to get over it after she got snubbed from the Oscars, saying her performance was overrated. I would have been shocked if she did get it. And first of all, Hustlers is not an Oscar movie. It's a little rough around the edges. I can't disagree with that personally. I'm assuming some other people in the acting category did not see it. Florence Pugh seems to have gotten J-Lo's spot, maybe because Little Women is a prestige movie, and she's a bright new star. Well, we're talking about the actor category, not the movie category. I don't know why we're voting for Little Women as a film when we're comparing Jennifer Lopez's and Florence Pugh's performances. Doesn't make sense to me. I loved Florence Pugh's performance, by the way. We're approaching this from an outside perspective. Let's continue. Actors tend to think of Jennifer Lopez as a phenomenon more than an actress. Well, that's also true in a way. That's why Lady Gaga lost to Olivia Colman. A real actor's actor. Oh, actor's actor. Here we go. And even those who enjoy Sandler's much-lauded performance in Uncut Gems, there still remains a skepticism about viewing him as a serious actor. That performance was a tour de force. He's emerging as a truly great actor, but then he does these dumb, cheesy, silly, it didn't say that, but that's what they're thinking, Netflix comedies that are just really dumb, said the character actor. They're just dumb. And you know what? That's not wrong. But what does that have to do with his performance in Uncut Gems? I don't know. No clue. Now, he admitted, as with Hustlers, some voters may not have even bothered to watch Awkwafina's The Farewell or Sandler's Uncut Gems. You know, there are just a lot of movies and a lot of performances per year for us to watch. Well, isn't that a shame? Unfortunately, actors become brands. Sandler's brand doesn't scream Oscar. But Leo DiCaprio and Jonathan Pryce's brands do. The character actor said, name-checking 2020 nominees for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Two Popes. This is an interesting insight of information. There are some 1,300-plus voting members in the acting branch. And last month, being a comedian, Sandler joked around, and it may have rubbed some people the wrong way, clearly, and said, if I don't get the Oscar, I'm going to come back and do a movie again that is so bad on purpose just to make you all pay. Now, one voting member huffed and puffed and said there is an arrogance to Adam. It's a lack of respect. You know, that comedian that's over there making jokes, yeah, how dare you make those jokes? In 2013, the Post wrote about insiders being miffed that Sandler was invited to join the Academy, the organization behind the Oscars, calling Sandler and fellow inductee Beyoncé unworthy. You know, they're talented in other ways, but is that what the Academy is all about? And as for Eddie Murphy, some voters disliked how hard he seemed to be campaigning for a nomination, including hosting Saturday Night Live, after giving his old show the cold shoulder for 35 years. I didn't like his attempt for it, said Moore. Yeah, I didn't like what Eddie Murphy did to campaign for that Oscar after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has been going hard for about 2 months with constant interviews. Constant. Pretty much every movie nominated for Best Picture has been campaigning just as hard, if not harder, than Eddie Murphy, as they do every single year. Every year. They all do it. And actors, Leah, all of them, they all do it. But Eddie Murphy, humbug. Still, if Adam Sandler has another great film, well, he'll be nominated then. If Eddie Murphy has a great film, well, he'll be nominated. And while there's little consolation for your peers turning up their noses at you, F. Murray Abramson, who won Best Actor in 1985 for Amadeus, has a message for this year's snubbed crop. Either you can accept it graciously, or you can fight against it. Those who don't deserve to be nominated for their performances because they're either comedians or actors that aren't considered actors by the prestige old people. I'm so stupid. So what this tells me, and here's what I get from this stupid article with these individuals who do not deserve to be voting in these categories. This reminds me of the story that Jim Carrey had to say that the time that he sat down and actually tried to meet Tommy Lee Jones, and for some reason he just didn't like him. And here's what Tommy Lee Jones said. I cannot sanction your buffoonery. He told Jim Carrey that, face to face, which I think is the funniest thing. But that's the vibe that I'm getting from these older Academy members who are not voting for the performances that maybe, arguably, once again, this is all opinion-based, deserve to be voted for. One, because, well, they've just not seen the film, even though that's their job to watch the movie. If they're voting for that specific category, you have to watch all of the nominees, or you should not be able to vote. I think that should be implemented. How do you control that? I'm not for sure, but thank God I don't have to come up with that. You all should figure it out. Not you all, but, you know. I'm speaking to the Academy through this video, I guess. And then you have the fact that they are not voting for someone like an Adam Sandler or a Jennifer Lopez or, for some reason, an Awkwafina. I guess she is slightly a comedic actress. They may have watched Crazy Rich Asians and thought, oh, she's a comedic actress because of their past roles. They're not voting for the performance. They're either voting for the movie, in the case with Florence Pugh and Little Women, which I think Florence Pugh deserved to get in, but they prefer the movie Little Women over the movie Hustlers. Well, I feel the same way, but we're not voting for the film. We're voting for the performance. If you prefer Florence Pugh's performance over Jennifer Lopez's performance, vote her in. Not if you prefer the movie. And then someone like Adam Sandler, well, they think he does too many silly Netflix movies. Sure, it's a tour de force performance. That's what the article says. Tour de force. But we can't vote him in if he goes back and does another silly Netflix film. Now, if he gives another fantastic performance, one of the best of the year, which is one of the hardest things any actor can do, then sure, we'll vote him in then. But only if he does it twice, not if he does it once, which tells me that other winners from the past, other nominees, these are actors that maybe didn't give the best performance that second time, but they did it twice, so they deserve to get it. You see where I'm going with this? These are building blocks that begin to stack up within every single category, within every single nomination, and it just becomes unreasonable at a point. It just becomes unfair. And those individuals who come out and say things like this, making up a very small portion, but making up a portion of the voting body, that tells me that more people have this mentality, more people are thinking like this. Now, that's going to be the obvious case. When you have 1,300 people, there are going to be one or two slimy people in there that say, well, I'm not voting for that guy because he said he's going to make a bad movie. You know, the comedian who jokes. How dare he? But maybe there are more than just one or two. Maybe there are multiple people that think like that. Maybe there are those who vote for movies when they haven't seen the film. Maybe there are those who don't vote for actors, performers, this and that, when they just don't think they deserve it. They're not voting off the performance. Now, once again, I'm not breaking any news to you guys. We all know this is the case. We all know this has been probably going on for years. We see that within some of the... I just talked about the King's Speech 2 videos ago and talked about how there were 6 movies that year nominated for Best Picture that I believe deserved to win over that film. And who knows, maybe it won because somebody heard, well, the King's Speech, I mean, that's the film. I mean, I haven't seen the King's Speech, but if everybody's saying that the King's Speech should win, well, by God, that's the one that I should select as the winner. That's the one I should put at the top spot. And it just, I find things like this so frustrating because what's fair? How do we fix this problem? How do we fix this problem? We can't fix this problem. The Academy has to do something about this. They have to implement new rules, something to change this up. And I like the fact, here's what I like, and I said I wasn't going to bash them the whole time. I like the fact that they're trying to bring in younger voters. And I'm not saying the older voters are the problem, but the majority of that article were those who have been in the industry a long time and maybe those who don't think the way that you should conform to think in 2020. I'm not calling them out specifically, but we should go about this in a more even way. This needs to be a playing field that isn't won by the actors and actresses that have merit going into that specific year. And even though their performance isn't as good as an Adam Sandler's, well, I mean, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Jonathan Pryce. I love Leo's performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But to say that he is an actor and Adam Sandler is not in the year 2019 when Adam Sandler gave a performance just as good as his, to me, that's frustrating. Who's the better actor? It's Leo. But we're not voting for who the better actor is all time. We're voting for that performance. We're voting for that category. We're voting for this movie. See the movie, vote fairly, do it right. Do it right. I don't know if anyone who vote, but probably not. This is probably just you guys just tuning in to hear me rant, and that's okay. But here's what we can do. We can spread this message. And don't go about it in a harmful way. Don't go about it in an abusive way. That's not what we're here to do. We're not here to slander other people because they like or dislike a movie. And this isn't me campaigning for Adam Sandler to get back into the Oscar discussion. There's no way that can happen. It's over. They've nominated their 5 individuals. This year is done. We have our winners. We just have to figure out who they are now come the Oscar ceremony. But next year, things can change. Next year, they can do it right. And whether they watch this video or not, this article spawning the talk online and everyone pretty frustrated with the fact that people have this mentality, maybe that can change that. Maybe voters will keep that in mind when they vote next year. Watch every film, vote fairly, and don't not vote someone in just because you don't think they're a good actor or you don't think they're a good actress, even though they gave one of the best performances of their career. So many things to talk about, so many things to cover. I'm going to end it right there because I've never done a video like this. To be frank, I don't want you guys thinking, well, Austin hates everything and everyone. No, that's not the case, man. I just want this to be fair. I want the Oscars to be fair. In that sense, it's more fun. And I'm not saying don't take into account a movie's timely. I'm not saying vote for something just because everyone is clamoring. No, just be fair. Watch the films. If you believe that's the right film to win, select it to win. Same with the actors. Same with the technical categories. I need to stop. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you like these kinds of things, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. Woo! I'm hot. My face is red. And we're going to change this. We're going to make things better. Things are going to improve. Voting members are going to continue to come in and hopefully sway things in the right direction. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see it begin to trend in the right way in the future. I'll see you guys soon.